All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good. Good evening. To deal with a couple of things today, but then Mr. This Samuel Adeoye, are you there? I want somebody to help us with the attendance. So please, Bolu, maybe you help us with the attendance. Because I can't see a minute here. I think that is noted. Now to the schedule of the meeting. Yes, I took us this introduction the last class, but then I still believe strongly that I need to revise it because it was like the first time we are doing something like that. All right, so what do we have here? Can we hear me, please?
Yes.
All right,
We can hear you.
good. Introduction to Python programming for data science. Introduction to Python programming for data science. So, what is computer programming? It's the process of giving instruction to a computer system to accomplish a specific task. You want a task to be done. It's just like asking a robot. I explained the last class. Asking a robot that, okay, robot, I want you to prepare a chocolate cake for me. But you don't just tell a robot to prepare a chocolate cake. You have to give the robot a step-by-step instruction how to carry it out. Okay, you have to heat in a oven to a certain degree of temperature. You have to mix the flour with cocoa powder and the rest. So you make it step by step. So the process of making it step by step is what we call programming. The instructions. Yeah. Uh, this time around, we are dealing with computer system. But programming doesn't have to do with only computer system. Of course, any tech device works on the basis of program. Even if it is a car, it has been programmed. A set of instructions has been packaged. Also, in the case of artificial intelligence involving the robot, so it's all about programming. But this time around, we are concerned about two things. We are concerned about Python as a programming language, and we are concerned about using it for data science. Now, there are so many programming languages. Just like we have human languages, we have Hausa, Igbo, and so on and so forth. The same way, we have computer programming languages. We have the Java, we have the HTML, we have the different programming languages. So, what they do is they offer a certain way of you being able to instruct your computer to perform the specified action. So the one that we want to deal with today is the Python programming language. So the programming languages, they vary by ability for you to use them. They vary by their, there are some languages, they are very strong, and there are some, they are easy to learn. So the same way we have in the computer world too, we have easy to learn languages and we have some that are advanced languages. Now, Python data science. We are going to be making use of Anaconda. We have talked about that in previous classes. And on Anaconda, our main attention is drawn to Jupyter Notebook, and that is where we are now. Jupyter Notebook. Doing everything we want to do today on Jupyter Notebook. I believe we can see my screen. Yes or no? Can we see my screen, please?
Anaconda and Jupiter words, please. Okay, notebook.
Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter. You can see Jupyter there. Then Notebook. Hope we can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Very good. I wanted to confirm. So, let's print our first message using the print function. So the print function is one of the instructions you can give to a computer system, and that's to help you print a particular anything. You can say print Jupyter notebook, you can say print Adeyinka, and it will give it to you the way you call it. I think that's easy to understand. It's as simple as that. So look at this. I said print uh, hello world to start. I like using the word hello world. It's traditional for us as programmers to start with hello world. So should I do that now? Let me try to run that. Yeah, so you can see the results. All together. All right. So print hello world. I think it's very easy to do that. And one thing about Jupyter Notebook is that you don't even need to add the word print. For Jupyter Notebook, it allows us to just type anything and it will give it to us back. So like this case now, I said hello world and you can see it there. Let me try to remove all the I'm coming. I want to remove all the outputs so that we can do the outputs together. Alright, so now I want to print this. I just type hello world and to give it back to me. Hello world. So I'm running. That's how to run. I believe we can see that. So it's interesting, right? So we are starting. So let's continue with what I've missed you. So let's continue with data and information. Thank God. Alright, data. What is data? Data are raw facts, they are raw figures, they are raw images. So while information refers to processed data, you get the difference now. When data has been processed, we refer to it as information. We refer to it as information. I will explain to us in two different contexts. You know, how do we process our data? Maybe through all these analytical softwares, analysis procedures, we get data to become information. Now, data, let's say the data we have is about maybe the age of somebody, or let's say the exam score of somebody, or let's say the number of children given birth to by somebody. The data for this example is 10. And the information that we want, maybe what the information is all about is 2 times x. So where our data is 10, our information becomes what? uh, 20, that is 2 times 10. Let's look at this example. So let's run this. What do we have? We have 20. We get that. Now, in a more advanced scenario, let's say we have weight as our data, and the data is 70, the weight is 70 in kg, and the height is 1.75 in meters. Then the body mass index. The formula for calculating body mass index is weight divided by height square. Weight divided by height square. So to calculate that, we say print, since we have inserted the formula, we now say print BMI, which is weight divided by height square. So in the interpretation, so of course, there's and we also asked it to interpret what's the interpretation for body mass index. BMI less than 18.5 is underweight. BMI less than 25, that means it's greater than 18.5 but less than 25 is normal weight. Then BMI between 25 and 30 is overweight. Then greater than 30 is obesity. Alright, let's run this code. Let's see what's our BMI in this case. We know what our weight is. Don't forget our weight is the data and our height is also the data. So the BMI is what? What's our BMI? Our BMI is the information we are looking at. So that's the difference between data and information. Now I'm running the code now. Sorry. Yeah. You can see the BMI is 22.85, 857, which is which type of weight? That's normal weight. That's normal weight. Okay. All right. So let's continue. I will come back to. Okay, let me talk about bytes. After that, I will discuss one or two things with us before we continue. Bytes and bits. Bit is the smallest unit of data in a computer system. It's represented by 0 or 1. Bit is either 0 or 1. It works with the binary system. I know the binary system is 0 or 1. Either you are switching on or you are switching off. So that's the smallest unit of information of data in a computer system. All information in a computer system can be reduced to 0 or 1. 0 can be like we are switching off, while 1 is we are switching on. But then a bit cannot exist on its own in a computer system. It has to work in a group of 8, and that's what we call bytes. So we don't work with a single switch, we work with a group of 8 switch, and they can have different combination in a computer system as information. That's why they said a byte consists of 8 bits and is the basic unit of storage in a computer. So we can see from this example that a byte is 8 bits. Yeah, you can see it there. Now let's talk about variables. We have a lot of things to say here. Now,
So
variable,
put code on the WhatsApp, please.
I don't know why. You can help me reach out to the person calling so that the person can join. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about variables. We have talked about variables before. We said variables are used for uh, data storage. Variables are anything that can exercise change in magnitude or direction. Variables is anything that varies. So every value in Python is an object, yes, of course. But then if you see objects, if Python is telling you is bringing objects, you should know that that's talking about a strange data type. I need us to take note of that, or we still get them. So an object has different data types, or let me say a variable. There are different data types. The same way we have different variables, we have different data types. For example, we have what we call numeric variables. A numeric variable can either be in form of data types now an integer or a float. Altogether, it can be in form of an integer or a float for numeric variables. Then we have the Boolean. Boolean data type is talking about true or false response. The string is the one that is in form of text. We cannot, okay, let's say everything is your, okay, maybe an open-ended question in a questionnaire. That's a string. So it can't be classified as a numeric variable. It can't be classified as integer. It can't be classified as float. But the respondent is free to say anything. That's what we call string. Now, let's talk about variables now. We said that they help us store data values. Alright. In Python, we often work with data, so variables are used to manage data properly. So there is a connection between variables and data. So we store uh, data in variables, and that brings the issue of list, dictionary. So we'll be talking about list and dictionary. So this we open our eyes to the concept of what we call variable. Now let's look at that example. X equals to 10, y equals to 3.14. In this x equals to 10, which one is the variable and which one is the data? Anybody? Very fast. Which one is the variable and which one is the data, please? Very fast. I want you to resolve. Mr. Ashola?
I think one.
Huh? X equals to 10. Which one is the variable and which one is the data? We said,
So I didn't get you. So I didn't get you.
we said that variables helps to store data values. And we said x equals to 10 as an example. That means x is the variable, while 10 is the data. Do you understand?
Okay, okay,
y,
okay, okay.
y equals to 3.14. Which one is the variable and which one is the data?
Y is variable. 3.14 is data.
Excellent. Name equals to John. Which one is the variable and which one is the data? Mrs. Temitope.
Mr. Mudoka is not on the
Name is the variable, John is the data.
Name is the variable, while John is the data. We can have more than, uh, in this case, what we have is datum because it's one. So when they are in plural form, more than one, that's when we have data. We have John, we have Sunday, we have Hinka, we have them like that. So then we say that name is the variable, while those responses are the data. I think we get that. So very good. So variables help us to store data values. I'm trying to start from the beginning so that by the time we start advanced work, we will understand the basic concepts. Because the problem of advanced work when you don't understand basic concepts is that you just be like, where are we? I'm not in Nigeria, something like that. So now look at this. Look at this very well. It said that a variable contains a value, that's the data, which is the information associated with a variable or the data. Now, to assign a value to a variable, we use the equal sign. I think we got that. We use the equal sign. Let's create a message that says I'm learning Python and store it in a variable called message one. I think it's very clear. Message one equals to I am learning Python. So you two, let's look at that. I'm learning Python. Which data type is that? Is it integer? Is it string? Is it float? Is it boolean? Which data type is I'm learning Python?
String.
It's strange. Why? Because it's a free statement. It's a free statement. Excellent. Now look at the other one. First name equals to. Now let me see this. Of course, by the time if I should run this now, nothing will show. Why? Because I'm not asking you to do anything. Look at it. So there should not be any response. Yeah. We just move to the next one. So first name equals to Oluwaseun. So if I can paint that, but no response, right? But now this first name, I'm asking it to produce what the first name is. Of course, I should expect a response, right? So now what is our first name, everyone? Oluwaseun. You see that now the last name is this. Of course, once I run this, it will have it in its memory that the last name is Ogumoroti. Now let's print that last name. What's the response? You can see this is what we call programming on Python. So these are the basics that we need to know. Then we can combine the two names with this code. Just a first name plus then a single quotation, space it, a single quotation, space again, add plus, then the last name. So you must make sure it's the same way you, I mean, the same way you typed those variables. By the time you are combining, it has to be the same way you are presenting it. This one doesn't have, what's the name? Uh, I've forgotten what I used to call it. The underscore, yeah. It doesn't have the underscore. The first name doesn't have the underscore, but there's an underscore here. So we put it here. So by the time we run this, of course, it will combine the two. Oluwaseun Olumorotu. So now we are creating another variable. We call it my first name. So my first name equals to Ahmed. Don't forget that by the time we are putting the equal to, we are adding double, this double quotation. It's double. This one is single. This one is double. So to join two variables together, we use single. But by the time you want to create a variable, it has to be double quotation mark. So let's create this variable. So it's created now. So we can generate it if we want, and we get Ahmed. So I think that is interesting, right? All right. Now, if we want to obtain the message and learning Python, we only have to type the variable name. Yeah, of course. Like we have formed this variable earlier. We said message one equals to and learning Python. Can we generate it back? All we need to do is just type message one. We don't need to start typing and learning Python or this saying it again. No. So we just type message one and that information will come out. I think it's getting interesting. So uh, let's continue. So we can create as many variables as we want. All we need to do is to make sure that the name given to one variable is not the same as the name given to the other variable. So if we have formed a variable with message one, we cannot form another variable with message one. We have to change it to message two. And anytime you are writing a code and you start with hash, that means we don't want our Python software to know that, okay, we don't want to regard the message as a code. This hash makes sure that it is not regarded as a code, it's regarded as just a mere sentence. But this one without hash is regarded as a code. So now we are creating a new variable now, which is message 2 and its form. But then don't forget that this is just there for us to guide us that what we're about to do is just an explanation. So that's why it's there. But the real code is this. Do you understand that? This is the code. This one is just to guide us, and that's why we put hash there. Now let's run this. Of course, it has been stored as a variable, and we can see it if we like here and its form. I will play with that, please. So let's go to integer and float. Integer and float. I'm happy. Though we are not much here today. Alright. So integer and float. These are still data types. Integer in form of numbers, but we make use of integer when there's no form of fraction, when there's no decimal point, which variables work more with integers, like what? Let's say number of children, number of students in a class. So anybody that has examples of data types in form of integer, years of schooling. So these are integer data types. All right. But floats are those that have fractional, that can be written in form of a fraction. Those that have decimal points, like weights, like height. Those are float data types. And under types of variables, we refer to them as continuous variables. Continuous variables. Now we have another type of variable here, boolean. But then if you want to be sure from the computer system what type of data type is this particular, like 10, which data type is this, you can just type that is data type 10. So to be sure, and you can see it's giving you integer. Which data type is 2? It's integer, right? So which data type is 2.6? Just to be sure, it's float, right? So I think we're okay with that. Then which data type is true? Just like we have said earlier, that true or false responses are boolean. So but to double check, you can always confirm here. Then strange as well. Strange is when you have a series of characters inside a quote. Like I didn't.
Boolean.
Yeah, that's the boolean. But for uh, our software, is calling it bool or bool, or anyhow you can pronounce that. You understand? But it's still talking about the same type of variable, just like it was shortened. The integer was shortened to int. So then another data type is the string, which we have mentioned earlier, like hello world now. It's just a series of characters. So what's the type of hello world? What's the data type? Of course, it's string, str. Alright, now let's talk about string concatenation. String concatenation. That's what we discussed earlier, joining two variables together, or joining the values of two variables together. Message 1, which talked about Python is fun or something. I'm learning Python and it is fun. I want to join the two together now. Let's do that. Let's see how that works. I've explained earlier that this hash is not a code, while this is a code. So let's do together. I'm learning Python and it is fun. I'm sure we understand how we got this. Okay. So there are different ways into it. We have different procedures, but I've taught us one. Because of time, let's move to assignment. So create a Python program that prompts the user to enter their age and then print a message indicating whether they are old enough to vote. Just take note of this assignment. You can write it out somewhere. I will ask for it in the next class or even before the next class. Let's say Wednesday. Let's submit this assignment. There are still other assignments we will consider before the end of this program. So mathematical operators in Python, just like on Excel, you can perform math operations in Python. Anything that we can do in Excel, we should be able to do it in Python. And obviously, we can do it even more in Python. So the most common operators used in Python are we have the addition, subtraction, multiplication, exponent, remainder, integer, division. So of course, like 5 plus, we can do all this on Python. So 5 plus 10, we have 15. This which symbol is this, everyone? This exponential. If it were to be single, that's multiplication, but this double multiplication is exponential, and you have 3 raised to the power 3 to be 27. And which data type is this, everyone? 27 divided by 3. Since it's in form of fraction, of course, we should expect it to return float as the data type. Alright, that's okay. Now let's talk about strange methods. What's this about? We may want to say, okay, this hello world is what we have here. We want to change to small letters. So all you need to do is just stay for changing cases. You can change case of text because Python is case sensitive. Python is case sensitive. So now we are changing this to lower letters, everything to lower letters. So you can see you may want to.
Sorry, sir. Did we not talk about string letters before? Sorry, sir.
What's that?
Sorry, sir. But did we not talk about string methods before?
I think we talked about strange concatenation. String
String what?
concatenation. That's if you want to add one string to the other. Like Python,
Okay.
I love Python and something like that. Yeah. So now
Okay, sir.
talking about being able to count. Okay, like let's count the letters. How many O letters are in hello world? How many? Yes, I think there are two. So we can count that. We can have more complex cases of this. Like a letter, you want to count how many of a particular character is there. So replace strange letters. We can replace letters like replacing all the O's to U. So you can actually do all this on Python. So you can see instead of hello world, we have hello world. Alright. So these are basic things that we can talk about on Python. Python. So now let's go to uh, what we call lists. Lists. List is a way of presenting our data on Python. Let me read what we have here. We have in Python, lists are used to store multiple items. Yes, in a single, look at that, that's a bad grammar. In a single variable. Yeah, so let me delete this. In a single variable. So lists are ordered and mutable containers. So they are ordered. That shows they follow hierarchy and they are also case sensitive. So in Python, we call mutable to objects that can change their value. Obviously, that's a variable, right? Yeah. Anything that can change, that can exercise change in values. That's a variable. We have male, we have female, we have countries. So that is element. Sorry, okay, sorry, please let me. I'm coming. Give me like 1 minute. All right. So look at this now. Countries. Countries equals United States, India, China, Brazil. These are countries. So this is an example of a list. Now I want to print this. I said that without putting print in front, I should be able to do it. You can see that. So United States, India, China, Brazil. So that's that. That's an example, a good example of a list.
Which data type is countries? Is that what you said?
Yeah, which that sorry countries have got. There's an error in my spelling. Okay, I think this is correct. Yeah. So which data type? List. You can see that lists. So we also have what we call dictionaries. But I want us to start with list. So the name of the variable here is what? Countries. Now the values. We have United States, we have India, we have China. In the ones we have done earlier, we have only singular value as variable. I want to differentiate this from strange or other ones that we have been doing, where we have singular value. But here we have how many values? Multiple values. So that's why we are not talking about strange. We are not talking about integer. We are not talking. If it were to have a single value, then we talk about all those ones. But here we are talking about multiple values. So this is now a variable. Anything that varies, is a variable. Now Don't forget that. Look at the bracket here. Look at the type of bracket. This is the type of bracket you use for lists when coding list. The one that is like a square. So the same thing here, and obviously we have that. So let's see these two. They say countries equals to. I think we have got this. Is it different from this? It's the same thing. So we don't need to add this again. So I'm deleting that. Alright. Now this is another one. We have name lists to be equal to uh, this is a name list as a variable. Let me use this as a variable name. Alright. So name list. This is our new list now. This is another example of list. So we have that. Now we want to print it out. We just type name list. And what do we have? We have Tayo, Ujo. I think this is clear and easy to understand. So keep in mind that list can have elements of different types and duplicated elements. List can have elements of different types. We can have 4, we can have 0.23 different types. Yeah. And we can have the same type of elements. We can have one in different places. We can have two in different places for lists. All right. So now let's talk about indexing. Indexing. So, so here they said by indexing we can obtain a list item or element by its position. Each item in a list has an index. Yeah, of course. One thing about Python is that all our numbers start from 0. So if we want to start, we don't start from 1 on Python, we start from 0. 0, 1, and so we need to be very careful when it comes to that. So they said each item in a list acts, I said it's about numbering, yeah, as an index position in the list. Python uses zero-based indexing. Zero-based indexing. I want to edit that. Zero-based indexing. All right. Where is it? Yeah. So that is the first element. United States has an index 0. The second, India has index 1, and soon, and so on rather. All right, let me add and so on here. Yeah. So to access an element by its index, we need to use this bracket sign. For example, print country, but which part of country? That is the one that has 2, then print country, the one that has 1. That means number 2, we can, let's do it manually first. Let's go to that variable countries. So which one is index 2 here, everybody? I'm waiting for us. Bolu, which one is index 2 here? We have United
China.
China, excellent, excellent. So because we started from 0, then 1, then 2, so it should be China. Yeah. Then we also have index 1 there. Index 1 should be India, if I'm right. Yeah. Let's run the code first. Yeah, let's run it. You can see China, then India. We are correct. Excellent. So there's also what we call negative index. Negative index. That helps us get elements starting on the last position of the list. That means starting from the last position on the list. Let me correct this first. Last position of the list. So instead of using indexes from 0 and above. We use indexes from -1 and below. So let's get the last element of the list. But now we use
Hello,
next
sir.
index. I'm with you.
So your network has gone. I don't know. I can't really hear you. I can't really
Can
hear you,
you hear
sir.
me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, you can hear me now, right? We are talking about
Yes, sir. What are you saying?
negative indexing. Can you hear that?
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the same way we have the normal indexing, we also have what we call negative indexing. And the difference between the two is that negative indexing starts from the back, starts from the last element, and it doesn't start with 0, it starts with -1. So the last item has an index of -1. Are we together? And it continues
Okay.
with that. All right, let's do this for countries and see what the result will be. Look at that. Of course, the last element there was Brazil, if I'm right. Yes, the last there. So -1 is Brazil, and -3 will be what? If you start from Brazil, this -2, this -3, which is India. Do we get that?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now let's talk about slicing. What's slicing about? Slicing means accessing parts of a list. So a slice is a subset of list. So you use what we call double column. When it comes to slicing, you just want to take parts of a particular list, maybe 2 out of 4, like that. Now, slicing means accessing part of a list. A slice is a subset of list elements. So slice notations takes the form of double column, list name, the list name that you are trying to work with. So let's say start, stop. So the first part of it is where to start, while the other part is where to stop. Start from 2, like in this case, and end in 4 together. Now this one is start from 1. So let's do this. So let's do this together, everyone. All right. We said 2 to 4 means China and Brazil. Start with China and end with Brazil. Now, India, China, Brazil for starting with 1. You know the element with, the element with index of 1 is what? Is India. Then this, there is nothing yet. That means till the end. Till the end. And thus we have India, we have China, we have Brazil. The same thing when you are starting with, okay, you are ending with 2. That means you are starting from the first. So United States, then we have India. I'm still trying to, all right, we'll come back to that later. Let's continue to list operations and methods so that we don't get confused. Now, there are a lot of things you can do with lists. You can add new elements, obviously. You can remove any elements, update values, and so on. I'm sorry, while I was typing all these stuff, maybe I was sleeping, and so on. So, all right. So in this section, we will see the most common list operations and methods. Let's start with adding elements to a list. Adding elements to a list. So, for example, we have United States, India, China, Brazil. Of course, there's nothing bad if we add another element to that list. We can have something like countries, append, see. we want to include this, then we now want to print out. So you can see now we have United States, India, China, Brazil, then Canada using that particular function. So you use countries dot append, that is the name of the variable dot append to add a list. We can also use the insert function. All together, are we together? So let's use the insert function to do the same thing. We want to add okay, now we are even putting the specific location where we want it. We want Canada to be number 2 index on the list. Let's see how far that will go. Wow, look at that. So Canada is now in the number 2 position. Now we start from 0, then 1, then 2. All right. Now let's see the other one. Joining lists using the plus operators. So we can join 2 or more lists together. For example, we have country 1, and in country 1 we have this, that as number of countries. United States, India, Canada, China, Brazil, that. Now countries 2 is UK, Germany, Australia. So you can add countries and countries 2 together. So let's say what that will give us. Look at that. Look at that. So we have United States, India, Canada, China, Brazil, UK, Germany, and Austria. Sorry. So we can put the list countries and countries 2 inside another list. Look at that, and which is called nested list. So you can have what is known as nested list. Now, what's a nested list? It's when you put 2 lists inside another list. Let's try that. So nested list. Let's see how this will work. Sorry, I think there's a mistake here. All right. Look at this. So if you look at this very well, it's different from the first one. It's different from addition. But you actually practically have 2 lists in one list here. They are still separate, but together. So this is what is referred to as nested list. I believe we get that. All right, let's still continue. For those who are unable to join, I believe they will be able to watch the video. We are wanting to come to this again. So now we can remove elements of a list. Yeah, we can remove an element from lists. So remove an element. I want to put in list or something. Okay, let's just continue that way. So there are different methods that help us to remove an element from a list. Now let's look at the first method. It's a countries equals to this. Yes, we can print country. This one is clear. But now I want to remove a particular element there. We want to remove the United States. Okay, let me run this first. Okay. Now I want to remove United States. After which I will type print countries. So now without United States now, let's see.
No, sir.
Okay, all right. So, but then there are different methods. We have another method here. I will know the problem with that later. But then .pop is also a way to remove unwanted element from a particular list. Like we have, you know what a list is now. Like this example, United States. Okay, sorry, I've seen it. I've seen it. This United States altogether, there is no space. There's no space here and there's space here. So That's Python for you. So, it's removed now. So that's that. Then here now we want to do the same thing. So which one are we removing? So okay, that should be the first element. We are removing the first element. I think pop will follow the index. You know, the first element has an index of 0, which is still the United States. So of course we should still expect. I believe you understand what I'm saying. So
No.
you can see. So you know the updated countries is starting with India, China, Brazil. So we got that. We got that. So of course, we may even want to still go further. There are different methods, you know. So this using the delete function. We said delete function, then print countries. Okay. So let's see what we have here. So it's remaining only Brazil. It's remaining only Brazil. So those are the different ways to remove an object, I mean an element from a list. So I believe we got that right. So sorting a list now. Sorting a list. Okay, we may want to adjust the position of elements in a list. We may want it to be in ascending order. We may want it to be in descending order. That's what sorting is all about. So we can easily sort a list using the sort method. So let's create a new list. We want to create a list now. The name of our list is numbers, and we have 4, 3, 10, 7, 1, 2 as element. So numbers dot sort is then the form of, then we want to print. So instead of us to say print numbers, we can just type numbers and we get the result. So we can reverse. Okay, so this will be in ascending order now. Fantastic. So I think that's very okay. That's very okay. So we can reverse it. We can reverse the procedure. If we are reversing the procedure, this is how we go about it. So we just say we add a bracket. We say reverse. The numbers of sort, then we say reverse equals to true. Instead of leaving it like this, so we are adding in the bracket reverse equals to 2. So it should not be in descending order from the greatest to the smallest. And I think that's how we have that. Alright. Update value on a list. Update value on a list. So to update a value on a list, we use indexing to locate the elements we want to update and then set it to a new value using the equal sign. Can you still hear me, everyone? Is my voice still loud and clear?
So what did you say, sir?
I said, can you still hear me?
Anyone?
Yes, can you?
Alright. So
Yeah, yes, yes,
you
we can see
see
you.
how far, because I think we're having just 5 minutes left. Okay, we're almost done. Very good. So I'll just give us this assignment for us to do. So we can update the value, update value on a list. Yes. So to update a value on a list, we use the indexing. Yeah. And we say equals to that, equals to whatever. For example, now the first number here is what is 10. The first number here is 10. We may want to change 10 to what? To 1000. And let's see where will be the outcome. Look at that. We have changed 10 to 1000. So the way to go about that is numbers, you put the index, then what you want to put there. That's how to update the value on a list. Next class we'll be talking about dictionary. All right.